Hello everybody, and welcome to Techno Games, where today it's not ridiculously quiet in the audio, even though it actually looks like it from the waveform. Never mind. And welcome to Sunday Ramble, where I don't know, ramble on Sundays. I don't know. Great. And yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about my problem with Rocket League. And this is solely my opinion, and I would like to preface this with the fact that Rocket League is a very fun game. It's definitely a very well made game, and go buy it. Oh wow, the Warhammer Dawn of War thing is all with over the weekend. Anyway, you should definitely go pick up Rocket League. However, I want to talk about my one main criticism of Rocket League, and it's that it's that Rocket League is not a game with massive amounts of content. So Rocket League, I play it with a controller. You can play it with the keyboard. I play it with the GameCube controller because I'm weird, and I don't know why I brought that up. And I feel that it's really doesn't have enough content in terms of it's very samey. So, what do I mean by very samey? I'm being horribly cryptic here. There's not enough to do, to be honest. There's not enough varied stuff to do, which is a bit annoying. No, I don't want to play CS:GO now. Shh. And it's very samey. It's all the same, as the word samey implies. It's ridiculously samey. So in Rocket League, you have like 8 maps, something like that. And as far as I know, apart from the backdrop, they are exactly the same. Apart from the appearance, which differentiates the gameplay in no way whatsoever, apart from like perhaps being blinded by the massive amount of bloom on it or something, they are exactly the same gameplay-wise, which is my first criticism with the lack of content. The maps have essentially zero variety throughout their gameplay. It is, you can play 3 maps, and 3 different maps, and they will all be exactly the same gameplay-wise. I'm not sure if that is exactly true, but if I can't feel it while I'm playing the game, I don't feel that it's made enough of a difference to actually be not samey, if that makes any sense. So I should be able to notice the difference in the map, because then that feels varied to me as a player. Imagine, I don't know, Rogue Transmission. You have 2 different versions of Rogue Transmission in Battlefield 4, and one of them has 6 trees moved ever so slightly, and you would never know. And you would never realise that it made a difference to the gameplay. That is essentially what it feels like at the moment, if the maps are different, which I think they're not gameplay-wise. They're exactly the same. If you put a black skybox around them, they would all play exactly the same. And that is my problem with that. There is zero gameplay variety between all the maps. All the maps are exactly the same gameplay, which obviously doesn't lead to varied gameplay, and no one likes stale gameplay. And that's my problem with the lack of maps, the lack of map variety, the lack of gameplay map variety. All the maps feel exactly the same gameplay-wise. They look different, they look varied and nice, but no one cares about that if they play exactly the same. So that's my first problem with the content in Rocket League. My second problem is the actual gameplay modes, So this one is a little shakier, seeing as there is hard, I guess you could call it evidence, that all the maps are the same. But with this is more personal opinion and how much variety you want. But I'm pretty used to multiplayer games having a wide variety of varied things to do. They all feel varied and unique. game modes, and Rocket League doesn't have that. It has 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. Great. So you have 4 different amounts of players on maps that play exactly the same. And I don't feel that varies it up enough. It feels a very similar experience between all of them. You're still a car kicking a ball into a goal. It's extremely samey, and again, that is my problem with the content. It is samey. I truly wish that the developers would add in another game mode or two, just to vary it up, because it is really samey. I'm trying to find the developers. Oh yeah, Physics. I don't know. They really need to vary up what they're doing with the game modes. Changing the amount of players does not change the game significantly enough for it to be significantly different, which is the problem in Rocket League. It seems very same. It's the maps, gameplay wise, all the same, and then the game modes, they're all exactly the same. It's a car kicking a ball into a goal. There's no variety within that. It's like Battlefield 4 having team deathmatch. I like analogies. Battlefield 4 having team deathmatch with just 16, 24, 32, 48, 64 players on the server. It's exactly the same what you're doing. You're just doing it with a different number of people. And yeah, while that is different technically, I don't feel it provides enough of a difference between all the gameplay to make Rocket League not feel like it has a lack in content, because I feel that it really does. And I feel that if the developers don't start working on that soon, Rocket League will die. It will still have the people who play it and get on perfectly fine with the samey maps and the different player sizes. They'll still have that following. However, a lot of people will drop out because the gameplay on the maps and the gameplay in the game modes, or if you can call them that, the gameplay varying between player sizes, is exactly the same, or very extremely similar. So yeah, that is my problem with Rocket League. It is the lack of content within the game is ridiculous, to be honest. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I shouldn't wrap. I feel like I shouldn't wrap this up. I feel like I should keep going. If Rocket League does not really tighten down what it's doing with its content and doesn't bring in more content and just patches in new flags, it will be exactly the same. It will die. It will die really quickly. That's why TF2's lasted so long. It has varied gameplay. Different maps, which play differently. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Rocket League. The developers really need to nail down what they're doing with content, and that way Rocket League will live, as so many others have done. TF2, Counter-Strike, Battlefield 4, etc. Keeping pumping content into the game, and you'll keep pumping players into the game. Thank you guys for watching. I've been telling about this. Been Techno Games. That was Sunday Ramble. Bit of a longer one this time, but this is something that I really felt Rocket League needs to improve on, and if it does, it will last a long time and will have a great player base and will have a great lifespan, and the developers will go on to do great things. Thank you guys for watching. I've been telling about this. And as always, have fun.